There we are.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. So, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's conversation. And today it is just Sara Jane and myself, Enolia, and we're so happy to be here with you. And we are going to be speaking about, wow, we're going to be speaking about a diminishing mindset. When you have a diminishing mindset. And I just had a blank thought right then and there for that moment. So excuse me. We get all ready for these programs and it's like, oh, okay, let's go. And then, blank for a second. So, I'm so happy to be here. How are you doing, Sara Jane?
I'm doing really well, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. And you know what? I don't care when you see this video. I'm still saying Happy New Year to you, because every day is the beginning of a brand new year.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone out there. And it's really good to be here and to be starting off. And this is our first episode of the new year, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. 2022. And we started these in, was it June 20?
Yes, we did. So it's always a pleasure and always a thrill to be here with you. And I'm so excited that we've kept it going. We're on like episode 33, 34, something like that right now. And it's just so beautiful to see the work that we've done.
36, I think.
Oh, is it 36?
Yeah.
All right.
36 or 37, something like that.
Yeah. So in talking about when you have a diminishing mindset, we wanted to bring up this conversation because right now it's like a fight on an cusp. There are many people who are really trying to engage themselves in a positive way. They're trying to come into their awareness, and they're trying to fight through an environment that may not necessarily nurture a positive mindset. And if you are embarked with negativity, if you just feel bombarded, you feel like you're fighting tooth and nail, to find that positivity, what kind of mindset are you taking on? How is it impacting you? A diminishing mindset can be looked at as so many different ways. It can be looked at as just that day to day, I just have a negative mindset. You know, the glass is always half empty. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work for me. It may work for everybody else, but it never works for me. Or that diminishing mindset might be just based on the fact that you don't value what you bring to the table. So there are quite a few ways to look at a diminishing mindset. And Sara, I'm going to pass it over to you in terms of what do you see as a diminishing mindset?
I was thinking about this while I was obviously listening to you and to what you were saying. And I was thinking that, okay, we have lots of stuff that goes on in our lives. And we have those spells where everything seems to be going wrong. You know, nothing seems to be going right for us. You know, we seem to get in arguments with everybody. This happens, and everybody seems to ignore us. There's all sorts of stuff that seems to be going on around us. But is that a diminishing mindset? Or is it just the universe making the changes you won't make yourself? And so I think it's being open to what is going on around you and why it might be going on around you. If you're in your wake-up call, or you may not realize you're in your wake-up call, but I think about my own wake-up call, and you absolutely, the way I came out of that and everything that I then did, because it changed my life so much, there were that many people. My mother's reaction when I broke my marriage up was, "Oh, you're going to regret this in 2-3 years' time. Oh, you're obviously going through the menopause early. Sort of, you need to go and get that sorted out. Don't give up, whatever." And I was thinking, and so other people said, "Oh, we better put you on Prozac. You're obviously having a breakdown, whatever." And it was actually, I'm finding myself, and you're all having a problem with it. But it was as if my whole life was collapsing. But I actually participated in that. I very much participated in that. Because I had been made so exhausted, I just couldn't cope with it anymore. So there would be many, many people that would turn around and say that at that time I must have had a diminishing mindset. But actually, that was the last thing I had. What I actually had for the first time in my life, probably since I was a baby and all the trauma that caused all those issues within my life, I was actually starting to be true to me. So if you feel everybody's having a go at you, maybe because you have adjusted your way of being, it's not you, it's them. But it could be perceived as being a diminishing mindset. So I think it's being open to what is really going on.
I find that to be a really interesting perspective, because when I really, really internalize when I have a diminishing mindset, it is a mindset that as I speak, as I think, how I look does not feel nurtured. And who would be doing the nurturing? I would. So it's diminishing when it's not nurtured, but when it's actually being nurtured by myself with purpose, with thought, for the purposes of change, for the purposes of transmutation, for the purposes of transformation, but for the purposes of a positive outcome, then I would say that I have uplifted myself from a diminishing mindset, regardless of what anybody else projects, thinks, feels, does, or perceives. But when I see myself in a negative way, when I look at life in a negative way, when I look at the activities I have to do with a projection of a negative outcome, when I anticipate negatively, because we can do that too. We can say, "Oh, I have to do whatever. I have to go pick up so-and-so. I have to go do these errands." And we look at it like, "Oh, I dread it." That's all the aspects and the facets of a diminishing mindset. I remember being younger and being at a certain point in my life, to this point now, but when I started it, waking up each morning and saying, "Okay, Creator, I am ready to start a new day. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to see a new day. I'm ready. What am I going to get accomplished today? What am I going to get accomplished today? It's a beautiful day. The birds are singing. Everything's going. I feel so good." And I know, regardless of what anyone thought or liked what I did, or had an opinion or a judgment for what I had to get accomplished, it didn't matter. Because it was where my heart and my mind was. And to me, that is where I wanted to be. And anything outside of that was diminishing me. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But our mindset, what we perceive our mindset to be, can be affected by other people's comments, remarks,
Yes.
actions, reactions, etc. And if you're, I'm one of these people that on a daily basis, I wake up with the gratitude and the asking the angels, etc., for help during the day, not just for me, but for everybody. It's part of a morning routine, and the gratitude at night, it's the thank yous. It's all part of a routine for me, which actually helps enormously with a positive mindset. But I wasn't always in that place, and I certainly wasn't in that place at the time of the wake-up call. And obviously, as much as I was feeling I am in a so much better place. I'd spent nearly 40 years in a diminishing mindset. It was natural to be in that. And then to be bombarded by everybody else's comments when it was just like, actually, I don't care what you think. So yes, I'd come from a diminishing mindset, which I'd lived in for so many years. But I found that strength and that courage to come out of it. And for me, it is important on a daily basis, and I usually do it a couple of times a day. It's just like sort of around about lunch, you've done really well this morning. I've got so much achieved. And then in the evening, you've done really well today. It's that praise. It helps bring you out of that diminishing mindset. And I've seen these quotes, and it very much is a matter of, even if you only achieve getting out of bed, praise yourself if that is all you achieved in the day. Because it doesn't matter what you achieve. It is how you feel about it. And if your mind is, but all I got to do was, I had so much on my list and 3/4 of it isn't done. If you don't start praising yourself, you are going to be in a permanent state of diminishing mindset. And trust me, folks, that is a horrible place to be. It really is.
You're absolutely right. And, let's talk about that a little bit too. We talk about a diminishing mindset, and we've been talking it in the respect of the fact that, when I was younger or before, I had a diminishing mindset. Now I don't. But really, let's talk about the transition to that positive mindset. It is work every single day. It is work every single day in terms of how you choose to look at life, how you choose to engage life, and how you choose to engage your relationships and your environment. That takes work. And we do it every single day. Change is taking place every single day. And we are plummeted with problems, issues, stories we have to move through, other people's emotional states and how they project them onto us, other people's baggage and how they want us to carry it. This is not an easy thing to just say, today I'm not going to have a diminishing mindset. We have life happening to us. We have life that we're moving through. So first of all is identification. Identify that, okay, I could be in a better state of mind in handling this. Okay, if I could be in a better state of mind, what is it that's really aggravating me? What is it that's really taking place that bothers me? Is it people's judgments that are being projected onto me? Is it how I'm being perceived? Is it what I'm trying to accomplish and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere with it? Is it how the relationship is being conducted and I don't feel I'm getting the respect that I deserve or I need? And you bring this one up all the time, which is, am I dealing with a people-pleasing scenario where I'm trying to make everybody else happy and I'm not taking in regards to how I feel and what my situation is or how I'm perceived, or even like in the family dynamics, I'm not making myself a priority? So what is it that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis? Identify it. Be the observer versus being just in it. Because if you're in it, you're reacting every single day, day to day. And if you're in reactionary mode, you don't have time to step back and take a breath and basically say, this has got to stop and this needs to change. Now, when I say become the observer of it, it's akin to like being in the movies, right? You can either watch the movie, observe the characters, observe the main character, even if that were you. you can take time to notice and observe what's taking place, that life is trying to happen to her, but she's choosing not to react and making a conscious and personal choice. Or you can just be in it and animated and just feel like you're in a tennis game and you got to just hit the ball back, hit the ball back, hit it, and not taking time to have a strategy as to where do I want to be, how do I want to place that ball, and by the way, can I place it in such a way that I accomplish the task, which is I'm not going to get served back something back in my face immediately when I don't want it there. So there's dynamics to this. And we have to take that into consideration and not just react at every fleeting moment. Sara Jane?
There. Right, we'll see how many of those points we get to cover in different ways. The first thing, well, no, it wasn't the first thing that went through my mind, but there's something I'm going to say here. I don't know how many people have watched The Holiday. I love that film. I really do. And Kate Winslet is sat in the restaurant with the older guy that's the house swap's neighbor. And he said something to her, and she turns around and she said, "You're right. I should be the leading lady in my own life." Now, that goes for you guys too. Not that you should be the leading lady, but that you should be the leading guy in your own life. Yeah, let's clarify that point just in case somebody is confused. We should be the lead in our own life. We should take care of number one. And I don't know how many ways it has got to be said to people. It is not selfish to take care of yourself and think about yourself first. If you don't, you are going to be pouring from an empty vessel. And those people that you are caring for eventually are going to have to care for you, and they probably won't. And they're just going to blame you for everything. Because you haven't taken care of yourself, you haven't learnt to say no, and you haven't learnt to help them stand on their own 2 feet, because you've always been there and done it for them. Very young children absolutely require support to learn. But as they get older, they should be being taught and then let to get on with it. It is your life. So those people are going to say to me, "But we've got kids." Yeah, I say I get it. I've never had children, but I have got 2 sisters with kids, and nearly all my nieces and nephews have now got kids of their own as well. I see what's going on in the families because they're part of my family. And I get it. It's not always easy, but it's the adult carers for their parents. I get that they want to be there for them, but stop not taking any consideration for yourself. It's you. We all have to teach people how to treat us. And if we don't learn to say, "No, that is not acceptable," we are going to spiral down into a diminishing mindset. Because I've got to be there for this person, I've got to be there for that person, I've got to be there for da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You aren't meant to be the last on the list. You are meant to be first on the list. And far too many of us have not been taught that. In fact, too many of us have been taught, "You on the list? No, you're not even meant to be on it." It is also about you talking about reacting. And it is about our reactions. And thinking about our reactions. And understanding where other people may be coming from and staying out of judgment, and then asking them for the same courtesy back. If I've said no, then I expect you to respect that. I will say yes when it is a yes. I will say no when it is a no. If I don't give myself time and space. So we teach people how to treat us. And if you teach them by allowing people to use you as a doormat, you are going to stay in a diminishing mindset, because you are going to think that you are only good to be a doormat. I don't know I considered myself a doormat, but I was definitely a people pleaser. And yes, I probably did end up by being used as a doormat a lot. So you are meant to be the lead in your own story. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that somebody doesn't become important for aspects of time within that. You know, if you've got an elderly parent or a very young child or a sick sibling or something, it doesn't mean that you don't give to them. It just means that you don't give to the detriment of yourself.
So in saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we understand how to identify it. We understand how to recognize it within us. But I want to talk about where we begin. It's called free will. And when you observe yourself, I always make it akin to looking in the mirror. When I look in the mirror, do I like what I see? Do I like what is being represented in my being? Am I someone that I would want to be around? And, you know, you might say, come on, really? But believe it or not, some of us, we don't even like ourselves. We know it. We have certain aspects of our personality that lead us. And if I'm in my more arrogant aspect of my personality and I come across as arrogant, know-it-all and everything, if I really took that honest look in the mirror, I wouldn't like that aspect of me. Why should others? Or maybe it's that more insecure person and I look and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm okay, but I know I can be insecure sometimes. But do you like that about yourself? Do you want that for yourself? Is that the part of yourself that you choose to lead your life? And so when I came to a point in my life that I said, you know, I can no longer nurture a diminishing mindset. I have to rise to the occasion to have a better outlook on life, to have a better perspective on life, to be a better version of myself in life, that I could look in the mirror and say, I love you. Not even I like you, I love you. And maybe you have to start off with, I like you first. But in order for that to take place for me, I had to like the aspect of the being that was leading. And I'll tell you now, women tend to be emotional. I was leading with my emotional state. And my emotional state most of the time was not a very pleasant person, harbored on angry and overconfident. And that wasn't the person I wanted to be inside. So why was I letting that aspect of my personality lead all the time, such that that's what represented who I was? Because that was not the best version of me. And it had to be a conscious choice. And in order to make that conscious choice, I had to take stock of what aspects of my personality were leading, being able to identify that they were in the forefront, and being able to identify and make a conscious choice that that aspect cannot and no longer will be allowed to lead who I am, because I'm better than that. So if I heard sarcasm coming out of my voice, I was like, oh, nope, wrong aspect. That's not what I want to project. I'm not going to be sarcastic. So the sarcastic aspect of who I am is not going to lead. And I could hear that anger and that edge in my voice. And I'm like, oh, nope, I'm not angry. So why do I sound angry? Why should I sound angry at any time? That's not what I want to project when people meet me. That's not what I want to come across, even if I'm in a disagreement or I'm debating somebody. Or we just both stand in our truth and basically say we agree to disagree because we don't agree with one another. I don't have to go towards anger, nor do I need to go towards insecurity. So basically taking and catching that emotional state and saying, it's like if personalities were aligned, get to the back of the line and bring forward the confident woman who I enjoy, myself, who I like being, myself. And if I like being that person, that better version of me, then no matter who I engage, at least they're seeing a reflection of a mirror of what I like in me. And this is no easy task. This is basically looking at yourself and saying, I'm going to be honest 150%. Because when we lie to ourselves, the only person we're fooling is ourselves. So if we can be honest with ourselves, at least if we get confronted with, oh, well, that was pretty sarcastic with, well, you know what? That's me. That's me. It's a part of me. I like me. And you're not going to like everything about me. That's okay. I'm all right with that. Because I know that I'm making the best effort of bringing me forward. Yeah.
Gail, I think there are a lot of people, because I know I went through it. I had no idea who I was. Absolutely none. You know, when I heard people say, I know who I am and I like who I am, and I was thinking, how? How do you know who you are? I had no idea how to even know who I was. But that's where the exhaustion was the benefit, was I just hadn't got the energy anymore to be the people pleaser and to try and please everybody around me. You know, and it started to have to come back to me. And that is why it was really important to me for the work that I did on myself, and coming to the understanding that in the process of growing up, when somebody said something, they were angry with me, they were cross with me, don't do that, that's not nice, whatever, I detached or I subdued aspects of myself. That every little bit of you is essential and is important. It is really important to know yourself. It is important to love every aspect of you. And you sort of talk about the anger, the raised voices, the sarcasm. And some people you can talk to and you can get the point across, talking nicely, talking calmly, talking quietly. They will listen. And there are other people, it doesn't matter how many times you say something nicely, unless you use language they understand, which may not be comfortable to you, will put you outside your comfort zone. But if you feel it's important to get something through to them, then you have to use a different way of being, another aspect of yourself that is maybe more forceful. And sometimes that gentle, quiet, caring, loving being that we like to be most of the time, most of us, people think, oh, they're a pushover. Then they get, mind you, having said that, if I start talking really quietly and slowly and concisely, watch out. Because I can do the screamy bit and I can do the I am very in control here and you are not mucking me about anymore. Every single aspect of you, because the sarcasm can come out in humour. Don't knock any aspect of yourself. It's just be aware of how and when you use it. And I think that's really important. You know, we've come from business backgrounds. And I was an area manager in retail. And because the shops that I was an area manager for were inside another store, and it was the DIY stores, so of course they've got these really hard floors. And I had got such a distinctive walk, and I could be heard. And that was a time when I was so insecure, but I had the suit, I actually had the tie, I dressed the part. The insecurities running rife in me, but I was really good at what I did. And on the whole, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed retail. And I was good at it. But the staff, they knew not to muck me about because they knew I knew what I was talking about. And they didn't. And there were occasions when things happened and it was just, they just see me and I didn't have to say a word. So it could be, and then when the words did come, it could be, yeah, well, you know that's not the right thing to do, don't you?
Yeah.
And so sometimes it can be about the energy that you give off rather than the words. But that's people getting to know you. But do you know what? If you have to use a tone of voice, and it may not be comfortable, that saying no to somebody may not be comfortable at that point in time. But the result and the peace that it can hopefully bring you. Because when you allow yourself to be used, that is when you are going to start spiraling down again. And so it is, have the confidence. And if a gentle, respectful no does not get listened to, you may just have to say it more forcefully. Our experiences are very, very different. And this is what I love about the shares that we do, because you come from one perspective and I very definitely come from a different perspective, which is brilliant, because there are going to be those people listening to you thinking, oh, I absolutely get that. And there are going to be people listening to me and thinking, yeah, absolutely, that resonates with me. And that's perfect. That's exactly what these conversations are about. Is for me, it's find the confidence in yourself. Let that confidence be with love, real love for yourself. Let that love come from deep within you. Feel the energies around the things that you do and say. And if it feels wrong, stop it. That was a conversation we were having before, wasn't it? Before we started the program. If something doesn't feel comfortable to you, listen to that. If something is feeling, oh, this is so what I've been looking for, this is great, absolutely, this is what I want to do, then go for it. Even if it doesn't quite work out the way you hoped, it doesn't matter, because you always learn. Even if you take that path down the discomfort, the uncomfortable bit, the discomfort, treat that as a learning curve. What can I get out of this that supports me for the future, for the experiences I do wish to have? Because we all end up in jobs we don't, oh, what am I doing in this job?
Yes.
All the years I spent in insurance. But, you know, there's been aspects of it that stood me in good stead. I definitely know what I'm doing when I'm looking for insurance. So never ever think that anything, any experience is a waste of time. But see if you can find experiences. Even if you're going through a not so good experience, say with work, make sure you give yourself your weekends and your evenings for the things that you do wish to do. Those things that build you back up, that give you the confidence and the strength to go back into work the following day. Okay, this is a means to an end. But make sure you have the time, that work isn't taking up all your time, which will just spiral you down into a diminishing work mindset. I'll leave it at that for now.
So I'm sitting here thinking, what can we offer before we come to a close to the audience on this topic? And I would say this: make a choice. First and foremost, make a choice. Second, understand that we are in the age of instant gratification and nothing comes instantly. This isn't something that you just make a choice and say, okay, the next day I'm this. It doesn't work like that. This is something that you have to work at. This is something that you have to internalize in terms of taking stock, taking inventory, looking at who you are, being honest with yourself, making note of how you behave and how you see yourself in different circumstances and situations, what part of you leads. And then once you understand those aspects, what is it that you want to work with and what is it that you don't? What is it that you're happy about within yourself and what is it that you would like to change? And then recognize that change does not come overnight. You are talking about habitual patterning. And in order to break a pattern, you need to recognize the pattern first. And then once you recognize the pattern, in order to break the pattern, you have to notice when you've fallen into it. And then when you notice that you've fallen into the pattern, make a different decision and step right back out. Normally I would do this, but you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to actually sit back in silence. That might just be the change right there. Discontinuing the activity, discontinuing the conversation, and just being quiet and the observer and listening. Whatever it takes, make a different decision. And then you will find that it's when that different decision has been made, a different outcome takes place. We take it little by little, each and every day, take it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, moment by moment, situation by situation. And when you find that you've fallen back into the habit, it's not too late. Step back, brush yourself off, pick yourself up, and start again. Until you find that making the different decisions then becomes the new habit. And I'll leave it at that.
No, beautifully said. And actually, that takes us, I am going to add my bit, but that takes us amazingly into the program in a fortnight's time. Is it always your choice? No, not is it. It is always your choice. It is always your choice. And so that is absolutely perfect. I'm going to come at this from a totally different perspective. Yes, we do, absolutely. We have to make our own choices. We have to say, this is what I'd like, that is what I choose to let go. But there are a lot of people that require an element of support to do that. We aren't necessarily able to do it for ourselves. Now, from my personal journey, one of the things that I was looking for, what can I do to help myself? So I was actually in that mindset of what can I do to help myself? And then I went to a Mind Body Spirit fair, and the lady there was sharing about a technique called Metamorphic Technique. An amazing technique that helps you to get rid of old unwanted behaviors, which is exactly what we're talking about. Being able to do is let go of those things that don't serve us any purpose anymore, so that we can choose to be different. Not to be different, to grow, to become truer to ourselves. She was also sharing about Reiki, and she said the very first person you treat when you do your Reiki one is yourself. Yes, that was exactly what I was after. She was also sharing about an angel day, so I went to that as well. And the lady that ran that became my Reiki master and also taught me Metamorphic Technique. Because being a practitioner of Metamorphic Technique, you not only have to give 50 sessions, you have to receive 20. You can't mix Metamorphic and Reiki or with Metamorphic with anything. But they made a massive difference in my life. I used Reiki on myself every day. I learned a technique that helps you to get out of your own way, that changes energy pathways in your body, which is exactly what Enolia was talking about, that she was talking at it from a mind point of view, whereas this is a technique that you can go to sleep. And you don't, the practitioner makes the moves on your body. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share a move that literally I remembered only a couple of days ago, but I'm going to take myself full screen just for a second. There's no reason why people shouldn't just put themselves into this. So, literally, finger to thumb, finger to thumb. Yes. And you hold yourself in that. And I was doing this for somebody who I connected, I know, it was on Facebook, saying they got another pain. And I could really feel the energy when I placed her inside there. So that might be something that you can do for yourself, just as a support. Now let's bring me off to full screen. So the thing is, take care of you. And so it may be important. Is there something like a massage or an Indian head massage or a reflexology or a whatever, a weekly swim, going to Pilates or yoga? Find something that becomes purely your time. I know there's a television here in the UK and an advert that's that the father goes out, or the kids go out to karate, the dad gets to stay at home, and the mother goes out to the cinema, all on the same night, so the dad gets peace and quiet at home, and they all get to stay at home, and it's some advert for food they eat, but it's the me time. Create the me time, whether it's once a month, whether it's once a week, but also create the time that you've got a partner that is just for the two of you. And then there's the family time. And be strict, relatively strict about it. Because when we make time for ourselves and we make time for experiencing and fun and laughter, that is when we really can enjoy living and decrease the diminishing mindset. Enolia, anything you'd like to add before we close?
I think you said it beautifully. And yes, we do come at it two different perspectives, but that's the beauty. There are many roads to the one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you, folks, for watching. Whenever you watch this, I hope it's spoken to you. Please feel free to connect with us. I will make sure that our websites are under the YouTube video so that you can connect with us. Also, I'm doing this through Gift of Healing TV. So if you've got a question, giftofhealingtv@gmail.com. Just connect. If you want that to go to Enolia, what's your website? Your email, if somebody wants to.
My email is through my website also, and it's info@enolia.live. So you can get in contact with both Sara Jane and myself. We share all the time. So either one of us, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you connect with one, but you'd like it a little bit from both, then just ask.
Yes.
It's really important. We do this because we feel it's important to share our experiences to help support others. So hopefully you won't have to have the wake-up calls that we've had.
All right. Learn from our mistakes. Learn our lessons learned. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like to think of mistakes. I don't think things are mistakes. They're just learning curves.
That's right.
Okay, next week. Next program is on Wednesday, the 26th of January at 7:30 p.m. UK time, which I think for you, Enolia, in Angola is 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
And in the States is Pacific is 8:30 a.m. So, we cover a good chunk of the world.
Yes, we do.
And our conversation, as I said, it is always your choice. And it's going to be just Enolia and myself again. Well, we started the programs like that. And we just thought, that'd be nice to have a month where it's just us. And we're back to guests again next month.
Yeah.
It's just the two of us for this month. So thank you, folks. Thank you, Enolia.
And thank you, Sara Jane. Yes.
And folks, I hope this has spoken to you. Whether you've liked it or not, hopefully it's spoken to you in its own way. Love, peace, and light to you all. Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Oh.